Poise and Pose, your knowledge factory. Today we'll learn the first lesson in English in Samacheer Kalvi Standard 10, his first flight. This lesson was written by Liam O'Flaherty. He was born in the year 1896 and he lived till 1984. He was basically an Irish novelist. He has written many short stories. Even though he was a native Irish speaker, he wrote a lot of English novels and short stories. And he wrote a very small number of short stories in Irish language. He spent most of his time in traveling and lived comfortably and quietly outside the spotlight. The first lesson is all about a seagull. A seagull is a very clever bird. These birds are found mostly near the oceans and seas. Let us learn what happened to this young and beautiful seagull. The young seagull was alone on his ledge. His two brothers and his sister had already flown away the day before. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down. He felt certain that his wings would never support him, so he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. This lesson talks about a young seagull who is left all alone on his ledge. What is a ledge? A ledge is a narrow shelf that juts out from a vertical surface. It is found on a high top mountain where you stay in the corner. Can you see that in the picture? Yes, this spot is called as a ledge. Now, this seagull had two brothers and a sister. These two people have flown away the day before, but this little fellow was left all alone. It is all because he was afraid to flap his wings. Even though he tried to come to the end of the ledge, he got scared again. So he went back and he slept there in the small hole the whole of the night. Even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings and flew away, he failed to muster up courage to take that plunge which appeared to him so desperate. His father and mother had come around him, calling to him shrilly, scolding him, threatening him to let him starve on the ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him, he could not move. See ya? The brother and the sister, even though they had smaller wings than this young seagull, they tried to fly. They flew away with their shorter wings. They flew away happily. But the mother and the father did not even lend him food. They were waiting for him to fly from there. They wanted him to start flapping his wings. So they started to call him shrilly. Shrilly means calling in a loud voice, in anger. They started to scold him, threaten him to let him starve. Starving means not giving food. He was left there on the ledge to starve. He did not have even a single piece of food for him to eat. But he didn't dare to fly from the ledge. He still stayed on the ledge. This poor little fellow was standing there on the ledge, scared to fly from the ledge. Here, the parents started to threaten him. They did not give him food. They started to scold him. but for the life of him, he could not move from there. See, this is what is called a shrilling. They are screaming at him, howling at him, but he didn't bother to move just because he was so scared. That was 24 hours ago. Since then, nobody had come near him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sister, perfecting them in the art of flight, teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. He had, in fact, seen his older brother catch his first herring and devour it. What do you mean by herring? See, the whole family left him all alone and they were flying about. The parents are teaching the brothers and the sister to fly and catch the fish. Yes, can you see that? They were trying to teach those birds the art of flight, teaching them how to swim the waves. So, as they were flying, the older brother tried to catch a fish and he started to devour it. See, this is called as herring. Herring means a group of fishes swimming together. These small, long silver fishes are found under the sea. They come up near the seashore. They swim all together in a group. So this is called as herring. And the older brother took that herring fish and he started to devour. What do you mean by devour? Devour means to eat something eagerly and in large amounts so that nothing is felt. I think the older fellow must be very hungry, so he started to eat up everything. He started to devour everything so that nothing was left. Then he stood on a rock while his parents circled around raising a proud cackle. And all the morning the whole family had walked about on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, laughing at him, at his cowardice. He was shown in front of them as a coward little fellow. So they started to make fun of him. They were laughing at him because he did not move from that ledge even though he was starving in that place. See, this is called a cackle, a sharp, broken noise or cry of a hen, goose, or a seagull. So they cackle. Have you heard the hens cackling? Yes, that's right. Now here they were cackling, and all the morning the whole family had walked about on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, laughing at his cowardice. The sun was now ascending the sky, blazing warmly on the ledge that faced the south. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. Then he had found a dried piece of markill's tail at the far end of his ledge. You want to see the markill's tail? Yes. This is over the ledge. On the ledge, his nest is over there, and the circled part is called as the markill's tail. A small piece of that markill's tail was just a leftover food that was eaten by his fellow family members the previous day. Yeah. Now there was not a single scrap of food left. He had searched every inch, rooting among the rough dirt-caked straw nest where he and his brothers and sister had been hatched. He even gnawed at the dried pieces of eggshell. Gnawed is biting something repeatedly. A bird cannot eat an eggshell. So this poor little fellow, out of hunger, he started to gnaw the eggshell. He was unable to eat. As he was gnawing the eggshell, he felt that he was eating a part of him because he came out of that eggshell, right? He then trotted back and forth from one end of the ledge to the other, his long grey legs stepping daintily, trying to find some means of reaching his parents without having to fly. See, trot means to run at a moderate pace with short steps. The horses they trot, almost like hopping. Yes? So that is called as trot. So he trotted back and forth from one end of the ledge to the other. He was trying out to find some way or the other to reach his parents without flying. But on each side of him, the ledge ended in a sheer fall of precipice, with a sea beneath, and between him and his parents there was a deep, wide crack. He couldn't reach his brother and his parents because they were very far away from the ledge and there was a deep sea beneath the ledge. Daintily means in a delicate manner, slowly, because he was scared that he would fall from the ledge. So he was walking in a delicate manner. Yes, and he tried to walk about here and there to reach his parents, but he was unable to do that. What is precipice? Precipice is a very steep side of a cliff or a mountain. This steep part near the mountain, on a mountain, is called as a precipice. Yes, he was standing near that precipice and he could see the deep sea beneath him. And between him and his parents there was a deep wide crack. Surely he would reach them without flying if he could only move northwards along the cliff face. But then, on what could he walk? There was no ledge and he was not a fly. And above him he could see nothing. The precipice was sheer and the top of it was perhaps farther away than the sea beneath him. He was unable to move from that place. He was all stuck up on the ledge. He stepped slowly out to the brink of the ledge and standing on one leg with the other leg hidden under his wing, he closed one eye, then the other and pretended to be falling asleep. See, he was standing with one leg, holding on the other leg, hiding the other leg, and he tried to close his eyes. He wanted to pretend as if he was sleeping. Still, they took no notice of him. He saw his two brothers and his sister lying on the plateau dozing, with their heads sunk into their necks. Since they were all flying and practicing the whole day, they were taking a small nap. They sunk their heads inside their necks. His father was kneading the feathers on his white back. What is preening? See, cleaning his feathers with the beak. So his father was cleaning his feathers with his beak. Yeah. Only his mother was looking at him. All our mothers do that, right? His mother was watching what he was doing. She was standing on the little high hump on the plateau, her white breast thrust forward. Now and again she tore at a piece of fish that lay at her feet and then scraped each side of her beak on the rock. The sight of the food saddened him. How he loved to tear the food that way, scraping his beak now and again to waste it. He uttered a low cackle. His mother cackled too and looked at him. Wit is to sharpen the beak. He loved to eat, tear the flesh and eat. As he wanted to tear the fish, he needed to sharpen his beak, so he loved to do that. Ga ga ga, he cried, begging her to bring him some food. Galoha, she screamed back mockingly. But he kept calling plaintively. Plaintively is sadly calling smiling in a very sad manner. And after some time or so, he uttered a joyful scream. His mother had picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him with it. So, as his mother was trying to fly with a piece of fish in her mouth, and she was flying across him, she was trying to come near him. So, this little fellow was screaming in joy. He leaned out eagerly, tapping the rock with his feet, trying to get nearer to her as she flew across. Now, as she was trying to come near the rock, this fellow started to tap his feet on the rock and he tried to go nearer. But she was just opposite to him, abreast of the ledge. She halted, her legs hanging limp, her wings motionless, the piece of fish in her beak almost within the reach of his beak. She came very near to him and just flew away from that place. So, this poor little fellow was not able to reach that food. She came near him but left him all alone with that piece of fish, and she flew back. He waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer, and then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. With a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards into space. His mother had swooped upwards. As he passed beneath her, he heard the swish of her wings. Then a monstrous terror seized him, and his heart stood still. He could hear nothing, but it only lasted a moment. The next moment, he felt his wings spread outwards. The wind rushed against his breast feathers. Then, under his stomach and against his wings, he could feel the tip of his wings cutting through the air. Now, in this paragraph, they say that he was waiting for his mother to come near him and feed him with a fish. But to his surprise, mother did not come near him. So he was starving for food. So with a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards into the space. Later, this scream lasted only for a little moment. He started to fly. He was flapping his wings. What is swoop? Swoop means to move very quickly and easily through the air. This is what his mother did. She came near him and flew away, far away from him. Then the wind rushed against his breast feathers, then under his stomach and against his wings. He could feel the tip of his wings cutting through the air. He started to fly. He was flying in the air, flapping his wings. His tip of the wings were cutting the air. He was happily flying on the air. He was not falling headlong now. He was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. He was no longer afraid. He just felt a bit dizzy. Then he flapped his wings once and he soared upwards. He uttered a joyous scream and flapped them again. He soared higher. He raised his breast and banged against the wind. Ga-ga-ga, ga-ga-ga, ga-wol-ga. His mother swooped past him, her wings making a loud noise. He answered her with another scream. Then his father flew over him, screaming. Then he saw his two brothers and sister flying around him, soaring and diving. He saw the whole family flying up in the air happily. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly and commenced to dive and soar, shucking surely. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him, with little ridges moving over it. He turned his beak sideways and crowed amusedly. His parents and his brothers and sister had landed on the green floor in front of him. They were beckoning to him, calling shrilly. What's beckoning? Making a gesture with a hand or head to encourage someone to approach or follow. So they were sitting over there and calling him to come near them and follow them. He dropped his legs to the sand on the green sea. His legs sank into it. He screamed with fright and attempting to rise again, flapping his wings, but he was tired and weak with hunger, and he could not rise, exhausted by the strange exercise. He was trying to fly. Here they say that he was unable to fly or to swim, do anything because he was feeling exhausted. He did not eat the whole night and the whole day, and he was doing a strange exercise for the first time in his life. He started to fly. His feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no farther. He was floating on it. He couldn't imagine that he was floating. He was swimming on the sea. And around him, his family was screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. He had made his first flight. And this is how this young little seagull made his first flight. And that's the end of the lesson. See you all in the next video. Thank you.